Now loading podcast, period.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podcast Period, the internet's stupidest podcast. My name is Ben, and with me, as always, is my co-host David.
What's up, guys?
So we're back from our album review episode last time. If you haven't listened to that yet, go check it out. It's on the new 21 Pilots album. So if you have any interest at all in that, it exists. It's a thing that you can go listen to. But this episode, we've got a more regular one. We've got some articles from, I would say around the interwebs, but they're all from Ars Technica this time, so I can't say that. We've got articles that we're going to talk about. We've got a couple discussion topics, and we've got actually quite a bit of trailers this time that we're going to take a look at. So should be a pretty fun episode. All right, now that we're here, let's start with the articles. First things first, our first one we've got is a relatively recent development. EA source code was stolen by hackers that are trying to sell it online. And I looked at the... Hey, can you turn that down, please? Thank you. You know what I'm doing. You can have it lit up a little bit, but come on, boo-boo.
I'm focused on other things. I'm not intent on anything else.
I know, but that's why I said something. Thank you. Anyway. So, they stole a whole lot of source code. I don't think they stole any game, like specific game source code, but they did steal the source code for the Frostbite engine, which runs a ton of EA's games, especially their sports games. And they got some multiplayer server code for one of the FIFA games, like a recent one.
780 gigabytes of source code and tools for FIFA 21.
Yeah, debug tools, SDKs, API keys, FIFA 21 matchmaking server, FIFA 22 API keys, and some SDK debugging tools. Frostbite source code and debugging tools, many proprietary EA games frameworks and SDKs, Xbox and Sony private SDK and API keys. Oh my gosh. Xbox, PlayStation, and EA. I can't read that last one. Something with key. I assume certifications with keys. Total dump 780 gigabytes. That is ridiculous. It's a ton of stuff in there, but like I said, not necessarily any specific game source code, so we're not going to get anything cool like the Mario 64 PC port coming out. But even if we did, it would be based off of source code that was stolen. So, it wouldn't stay up very long before it was taken down. And then there was a, what is this? Okay, so separately, almost 200 gigabytes of private data belonging to the Presque Isle Police Department has been dumped online by the ransomware group known as Avedon. The police department was hacked on April 18th and given 10 days to pay the ransom. The department was able to rebuild its network using data backups, and it declined to pay. Apparently they leaked all that stuff. That's wonderful. It says, okay, so the thing with this Ars Technica article is that it says the EA attacks were due to ransomware, but I was reading another article earlier this week, and it said that the compromise was not due to ransomware. So I'm not sure who to believe. I'm betting more on Ars Technica's side, but human error and everything, weak passwords, it's entirely possible that the leak could have come from somewhere other than ransomware. So, it happens. It's a huge leak. And it'd be interesting to see what exactly comes of it in the coming months, because I think the Frostbite source code is a pretty big deal, because that's a pretty widely used engine as far as EA is concerned.
Man, I don't know anymore. It just seems like every other month there's some news about a massive ransomware attack. Some of it is, stupid, like the pipeline shutdown.
Yeah.
That seemed just stupid. This seems kind of stupid too. The police department one is interesting. They did exactly what we had suggested the pipeline people do, and just, go off your backups and say F it, but then you got private data out there that got breached. So it just depends on what's on.
Yeah, but let's be honest, right? They could pay the ransom, and these people could still just let it go. What's to stop them from doing that?
There's nothing to stop them from doing that.
Exactly. So it's either you pay them $10 million and they might not leak your stuff. It's like 10%, probably not. 90% definitely will. Let's get that straight. Or you could just say, F it, I'll save $10 million and have them leak the stuff anyway. So, I don't know. I'm kind of on the side of the police department here.
No, I am too.
It makes way more sense not to put taxpayer dollars towards this and just use the infrastructure that you already have set up in an event exactly like this.
And clearly they did. So kudos to them for, having what they should have had in place. Yeah. It sucks that it happened, but, hey, at least you did what you should have done.
It's crazy. But you know what? That couldn't have happened to a worse company. So
it's EA, not the police department.
Yes. Just to clarify. Let's get that straight.
He's not bashing police here. He's bashing EA, which
yes,
I agree. They deserve it.
I think we haven't talked much about EA on this show, but I think as far as David and I are concerned, EA is up there with like Apple and Intel on bashing terms.
And AT&T.
We won't. Yeah, and AT&T. We won't hesitate.
We're going back to our roots, because I've got something to go after them for too.
We always end up doing that like every couple of months. They do something. There's something about them.
It's in their blood. Anyway, they can't help it.
That's right. They started this podcast. They're probably going to be the ones that end it. Anyway, yeah. So EA is probably going to be on our list of companies to crap on every now and again. Now that they've come in finally.
It's a growing list. We'll get to everybody eventually. Nobody is safe. If you do something stupid, we'll call you out on it.
That's right. All right. Let's move on to the next one. What did you get, Broski?
Alrighty. So, Android 12 is in the making, and I actually like this. There's a color changing UI that they're implementing into Android 12. It came out in the Beta 2 program, and it is basically, from what they've explained so far, you can set everything from like the color tones of like your settings and text bubbles and everything else based on like photos. So if you have a pretty blue photo for your background, the UI is basically taking a color cue from something in your background and customizing everything. And honestly, it looks gorgeous. I am liking these rounded bubbles. Mm-hmm. It's something that I wish Windows would do, which we'll talk about later. I'm tired of squares. And they did give us rounded bubbles in the last few iterations, but they're bubbles, they're tiny circles, and they don't really in some cases display a lot of useful information. These are more like ovals.
Yeah.
So they're going to
yeah.
have a pretty big chunk of info, hopefully, in them, and probably a lot easier to toggle.
I don't know.
It looks good.
I'm looking at the quick settings screen between what they've got and what I've got because I'm on Android 11, and I don't know. There seems to be more information underneath the bubbles than there are these like long ovals that they've got. I mean, they're toggles obviously, but I can see the Wi-Fi, the name of the Wi-Fi that I'm connected to, whether my mobile data is on, whether it's LTE or not, all that good stuff underneath that. And it doesn't look like that's necessarily going to be the case with this.
They might just have that purposely omitted information that because it is generic.
True.
They
That's
are
true,
calling
yeah.
it internet. It's not going to be called internet. I don't think. It's probably going to be the name of your router. I think it's generic in this particular case.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I would hope so, because Bluetooth is also quite generic. Some devices might just say Bluetooth. Mine will specifically say, as long as I have swiped down twice. So the first swipe for 10 gets you the bubbles. And then if you swipe down again to get the full quick settings menu, it'll scroll the information along the bottom of the bubble.
Yep.
Whereas this looks like it's incorporating it into it. I don't know how much they changed between 10 and 11. I never got 11, so I'm looking at 10 to 12 here, which I probably will end up getting a phone this generation, maybe. It might be next generation, but I'm liking this so far. It looks pretty.
I'm not too worried about it. I mean, I kind of miss having the Android updates because 11 is the last one that this supports, but I mean, as long as the phone works, it's not super slow or anything, I'm not going to worry about it. I think I'm just going to keep the Pixel 2 for now.
Just depends. Totally depends.
Yeah.
Also depends on if and when this breaks, because right now it's still under warranty, so if it gets fixed under warranty, I'm not going to worry about it. But if it's after warranty, well, I don't think there's fixing anything in this one anymore. It's too out of date. But I like it. I like it a lot. So, yay, Android 12 is on the way.
It looks nice. All right. So, we've got an article that will feed into a discussion topic that we're going to have later on. So, forgive us if we kind of dance around some of the issues that the article is talking about. But we're like I said, we're talking about it in our discussion topic. So, record labels, sue another ISP demanding mass disconnections of internet users. So, Universal, Sony, and Warner sued Frontier Communications, alleging that the DSL and fiber ISP with 3.5 million subscribers received hundreds of thousands of copyright infringement notices from copyright owners, but provided known repeat infringers with continued access to and use of its network and failed to terminate the accounts of or otherwise take any meaningful action against those subscribers. In reality, Frontier operated its network as an attractive tool and safe haven for infringement. Frontier chose not to act on those notices and address the rampant infringement on its network, these companies claimed. Frontier said it, quote, has terminated many customers about whom copyright owners have complained, unquote, and will fight the lawsuit. Oh boy. The lawsuit was filed amid concerns that a $1 billion judgment against Cox Communications will cause ISP to terminate more customer accounts and punish the innocent and guilty alike, as we reported on Monday. So, the big deal about this article is piracy and whether or not, obviously, copyright is the law right now. Whether or not we agree with how long the copyright terms are, cough, cough, Mickey Mouse, is a different story, which we'll
Mhm.
get into later. But
Mhm.
that's the big deal about this article. Like I said, we're going to get into more of it once we get to our discussion topic, so I don't really want to ruin anything. But
Yeah.
what do you think about the fact that this ISP is getting sued by these music companies?
Okay, so in context of this as it is, of course, there's allegations that they didn't do anything, and then there is the rebuttal from the company that said, yes, we did in fact do something. I think it is entirely within somebody's right to try to gain back personal and copyrighted IP if it is in fact under copyright and or trademark terms. I think that's well within the right to be able to, quote, seek legal litigation to combat this problem and try to reclaim what is rightfully theirs and or receive proper compensation. As far as suing the ISP, I guess it really is just going to boil down to the fact, did they do what they should have done?
Yeah.
Is this a legal requirement for the ISP to take action against said subscribers who did whatever it is that they did?
May or may not have
Or
pirated anything.
it could be false allegations from
Mhm.
the copyright owners. And if that is falsely accused accounts being terminated through no legal fault of their own, that's a problem.
Yeah,
So
see,
it's a mess
the-
either way.
The thing is, right, I mean, obviously Universal, Sony, and Warner are legitimate companies, but I saw I think it was a Reddit post or something here recently where somebody actually got a copyright notice for downloading Ubuntu, like the Linux distribution, through a torrent because it was something that was offered on the distributor's website. They got a copyright infringement notice, even though obviously it's something that you can download for free from a torrent from this company's website. Because some other company submitted a claim to the ISP saying that they were the copyright holder for this piece of software, we'll say. So there's something to be said about caution, because if you can't confirm, like I said, Universal, Sony, and Warner are obviously legitimate companies, but if you can't confirm that copyright was in fact being infringed, or that the company that is submitting this notice is even the actual copyright holder, then what is the ISP supposed to do? Are they really going to send a takedown notice or whatever to their subscriber, or are they going to be like, I'm going to err on the side of caution here and leave my paying customer alone? And unless this copyright holder can provide legitimate proof, which, I mean, usually they can because they're watching these things, then I can't really blame them.
No.
If that was the case.
If that's the case. It just depends on what the cold hard facts are. I can see both sides of this story. It really is double-edged, because they may have not have done anything for legit copyright infringement issues, or these copyright infringement issues may be totally frivolous through either no fault of the three companies named here, or in the weird case of, I mean, it's because it came from that website, obviously, was the issue with the torrent and the Ubuntu software download. You got to have proof that it was obtained illegally.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't go after somebody for a free piece of software like Ubuntu. But you can't go after him for whatever this is. I don't know. Whatever the proof is in the pudding somewhere.
I think the big deal is that it was done using a torrent, and typically torrents are used for piracy. You know, even though you can go to plenty of legitimate websites like Canonical's website, the maker of Ubuntu, or like archive.org, and you know it's all copyright free or fair use stuff on there, and pretty much everything that you can download on archive.org has a torrent file that you can download to download it that way.
It could have been a particular distro. Somebody's gone in and they've set some like automatic script, and they've got like a custom profile on top of the Ubuntu software. Who knows? Maybe it's for music production. Maybe it's for video editing or something. Something that somebody's gone and taken the time to create a custom script that other people may want to follow. And the best way to get it out there was to put it on torrent.
Mm-hmm.
Or on or a torrent website or something. I don't know. It just depends on what it is. But
yeah.
I don't know. It's they track everything and they get out of hand sometimes.
Yeah. We'll get more into it once we get it to the discussion.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the next one. What's your next one?
Alrighty. So I kind of picked this topic because we both have a personal family history with this particular disease. So I kind of wanted to hear what you thought about it. So the topic at hand is 3 experts resign as FDA advisors over approval of Alzheimer's drug.
Okay.
So one former advisor accused the FDA of presenting slanted questions to the committee. It's fallout continuing from the Food and Drug Administration's conscientious decision this week to approve, and you're probably going to have to pronounce this for me, Biogen's Alzheimer drug Aduhelm? Adlem? Aduhelm. Adlem? Adhelm?
Aduhelm? I'm going to say Aduhelm.
Aduhelm? There we go.
Yeah.
Despite a lack of efficacy data. So whether or not it's actually going to work.
Yeah.
3 experts who sat on the advisory committee for the FDA have now resigned over the decision. The advisory committee reviewed the data behind Adlem last November. I'm just going to say Adlem because it's easy for me to say. And voted overwhelmingly against approval. One of the 11 advisors on the committee, 10 voted no. So only one person said yes to this, on the question of whether Biogen had collected enough evidence to indicate that the drug is effective. The remaining advisor voted uncertain. So he didn't even say yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, given that 11 people couldn't say yes, and 10 straight up said no, that the committee was not provided sufficient data to say whether or not this drug is effective, the FDA approved the drug on Monday. Though the regulator acknowledged that there were residual uncertainties regarding the clinical benefit of Adlem, the FDA said it decided to lower the requirements for approval after the advisory committee voted. Instead of basing the approval on the drug's demonstrated efficiency, the agency relied on a surrogate endpoint. In this case, the surrogate is the ability of the drug to reduce amyloid beta plaques in the brain of some Alzheimer's patients. Basically, the crap that ends up messing everything up for those who aren't familiar with this god-awful disease, because it does suck. Especially when you have to witness family members who have it go basically to mush. So, while I would definitely want there to be something out there that is going to work, I don't know if I want the FDA just randomly approving things that there's no facts on.
You telling me that I can just go to the FDA right now and say, yeah, I got this pill right here. It's definitely going to work against Alzheimer's. Well, geez, okay. Did you hear that?
Was that thunder?
That was thunder, yeah.
Good Lord.
I don't know if that picked up on the mic or not, but
it did.
Geez.
I thought she slammed something, like she accidentally knocked over plastic.
No,
that
was thunder.
Good Lord.
Anyway, This pill definitely does something to help Alzheimer's. I definitely didn't just go to the CVS and pick this up out of a bottle of Tylenol. I scraped the name off of it so you couldn't tell, but it definitely works. Approve it. I'll have mass production up in no time.
And by mass production, I'm talking about three of me and my homies in the back seat of a car just scraping off these pills. No problem.
That's right. We're using nail files that we bought at CVS too. Oh my god. That's so... I can't. Listen, if it works, that's great. But fact of the matter is, the advisory board that you put to approve it or not approve it said that there wasn't enough data to approve it. So it seems a little ridiculous to me that they basically got written off and the FDA is just going to approve it anyway. Even though they're I don't know if this is a committee of experts or what, but they're FDA advisors, so I would assume that they would have some knowledge of medical or scientific stuff.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Hey, God help us if they're not. But anyway. It seems a little crazy that the people that you basically hired or that volunteered to be on this committee, they're basically being written off because the FDA wants to approve this drug. I mean, maybe they wanted the headline to say that they've got this new Alzheimer's drug on the way. The FDA just approved it. Blah 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 blah. There's probably some money exchanging hands, whatever, you know. But it seems, I don't know. This seems like a blatant attempt to grab a little bit of headlines, and I'm glad that these people, that at least some of these people had enough morality to resign over this and speak out about it.
This particularly irks me on another personal level. This probably just ends up coming from the fact that we've dealt with the public on a daily basis. Do not come and ask for my expert opinion and then go over my head when I give you the answer you didn't want to hear. Because you don't like it. That pisses me off when people do that.
I work in a little bit of a different retail capacity, but when I was in the same store as David was, all the time people would ask you, oh, how do I do this thing? And then you give them basically step-by-step instructions on how to do it, what they're going to need. Oh, but I don't want to do that. That's too much work. I'll just get some duct tape and put my floor down.
It costs too much money.
Well, then don't come complaining to me when it comes up. Okay?
Thank you.
Don't come complaining to me when your paint starts peeling off the wall. Because you didn't sand it down. You put it over your freaking glossy paint. Anyway, yes, I'm right. I'm right there with you on that. That's stupid. It's so dumb.
If 10 years from now there's those class action lawsuits on the television talking about this drug and how it caused irreparable damage to you and or your loved ones, are you going to be surprised?
No, not at all.
There you go.
Did you get lung cancer? Did you get liver cancer because of this drug at Aduhelm? Well, then call me at 1-800. I'm going to get you money. Oh, man.
Jeez.
I don't even know if they run those types of commercials anymore. I haven't watched TV, like daytime TV, in such a long time.
They do.
Oh, Lord. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, but like, that's ridiculous. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. So I believe we covered this once when it came out. Stadia, Google Stadia. I don't even know how many people are actually subscribed to this service. I'm sure it's on the order of like 9 people.
I was gonna say like hundreds
supports,
of people.
Yeah, it supports Android TV now. You know, Google's own operating system / hardware. 18 months after it was launched. So, wow, it's crazy. So Chromecastle's Google TV. You can do it on NVIDIA Shield TV Pro, Walmart On Full HD streaming stick and Ultra HD streaming device, Philips 8215, 8505, and OLED 935/805 series Android TV, Xiaomi Mi Box 3 and Mi Box 4, and Hisense Android smart TVs U7G, U8G, and U9G. So, if you have any of those devices, you can use Stadia now if you really want to. I don't know why you would, but you can. Yeah. Oh gosh. So
If it worked, this would be awesome. Given the fact that nobody hardly knows what this is, and it's basically cliff dived off the end.
Let's be honest, right? If you wanted to do some sort of cloud gaming, just get xCloud. Get the Xbox, the Ultimate Game Pass. It's got xCloud in it. You probably already have it if you have an Xbox. I mean, let's be honest. And I'm pretty sure it already works on all these Android devices too, so.
God help us all.
There you go. Ridiculous. All right. Let's leave Stadia behind. It's given me a bad taste in my mouth. Now we'll wash it out with bashing some AT&T. What'd you bring?
Alrighty. So, no surprise here. AT&T CEO seems confident industry can kill Biden's municipal broadband plan. Basically, in a nutshell, AT&T CEO John Stankey.
I love that name.
It's
Mr.
perfect.
Stanky.
Mr. Stanky. Yesterday called President Biden's plan to fund municipal broadband networks misguided, and said that the U.S. shouldn't pay for any broadband deployment in areas that already have networks. But as AT&T and other ISPs lobby against public networks and government-funded competition, Stanky said he is confident that Congress will steer legislation in a more pragmatic direction that AT&T favors.
Never
mind.
Just
AT&T and other private ISPs have taken billions from the government, the same people that they just said shouldn't be doing anything to help expand broadband, taking it from the government to incrementally deploy upgrades in rural areas over the years, and they don't want public networks getting any of the cash they've grown accustomed to receiving. Stinky claimed that there isn't much of a broadband problem to be solved, as the networks functioned incredibly well for the vast majority of citizens in the United States during the pandemic. Why would we want to go and overbuild in areas where there's already great infrastructure? Stanky said, saying that it would be a waste of subsidy dollars. Every 5 sentences out of this guy's mouth is pure garbage. Oh, and also AT&T thinks 10 megabytes up is plenty.
So, I'm looking at a Wikipedia page with average connection speed in megabits per second.
Mm-hmm. And tell me, where is the U.S. on that list?
I want you to guess where the U.S. is on that list.
I can guarantee you they're not in the top 10, and I'd be shocked to think if we've actually not fallen out of the top 50 at this point.
I will give us that we're in the top 50.
Given that there's over 200 countries in the world, I guess the top 25% would be fair. What are we, about 30?
We are number 25.
That was
with
5
an
points
average
off.
connection speed of 26.7 megabits a second. You want to know who's number 1?
Hong Kong.
No, actually not. Canada. With, get this, average connection speed of 150.6 megabits a second.
Okay. Now, there is a caveat to Canada. They are unique in the fact that almost all of Canada's population basically sits within a 50 to 100 mile radius of the US border. So they're pretty much all compacted in a straight line across the entire southern, 10% of their country.
Sure.
So they are nicely concentrated, so they don't have a lot of, quote, rural areas. But come on. If you can do that in Canada, do you think we could at least get half that in the United States?
I don't.
You said how much? 100 and what, 10?
150.
150, and we're at 25. So we're what? Not even 25% of what they've got? What does it work out to be, 18%? Something similar to that?
Let's see.
Ridiculous.
We're at 26.7. They have 150.6. We're right around 18%. Yeah.
Damn, I'm good at math today.
It's ridiculous, though.
We can do better.
Oh, yeah. We should, with how much money we're giving these ISPs, we should be better. But they're just taking the money and not doing anything with it. Sure, they're putting down lines sometimes in rural areas, but, I mean, they've got these... They're supposed to have these supposed, rollout plans and get things done within months, and it's taking them a decade to do what they should be getting done in a year.
I am in a county that has nearly 100,000 people in it at this point. We've got about 35. I haven't got the latest statistics from the census for what we've got, but we're at 35,000 for my city. The city immediately north is actually 40, and we don't even have AT&T's gigabit speeds yet. You know what we get from AT&T? 50. That's the most I can get, and I am in city limits. I'm not out in the countryside somewheres. I'm within city limits, and I can't get more than 50 from these guys. Charter gives me 400. And 20 megabits upload, not 10.
Mm-hmm.
And even 20 sometimes isn't enough, depending on what you're doing. For what we're doing right now, it's great. It doesn't have any problems.
No. But for uploading a YouTube video, it can sometimes take a little bit.
If AT&T was right, and we didn't need more infrastructure out there in the world, do you honestly think Starlink would be working right now?
Oh, God, no.
That's satellite internet. It's doing better than this.
If the U.S. didn't have a broadband problem, Starlink wouldn't need to be a thing.
No, absolutely not. That is doing better than this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's satellite internet. Granted, it's highly sophisticated satellite internet, but it's in beta, and it's still doing better than this. Imagine what it's going to do when everything's actually up and running.
Mm-hmm.
Idiots. Oh my! This is why AT&T gets bashed. Idiots.
Especially on this show.
That's why I don't have AT&T internet anymore. Because I couldn't deal with it. And when I left, it was 25.
Well, at least they've doubled it, right?
Oh yeah, we doubled it. Great win for the consumer. Honestly, 50 would be okay. Not now that everything's in 4K. But it would have
Well,
suited me just fine for the last 5 years.
Honestly, 50 is fine for 4K. It's not fine for multiple 4K
not for multiple
streams.
4K. And I should caveat that.
But
for one, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But I got like 10
honest,
devices in this house. Do I really need to split that between 10 different things?
Exactly. And like how what home honestly doesn't have at least, I mean, you can watch crap on your phone now.
Yep.
I've got a TV in my living room and a TV in my bedroom. Plus this computer. So, yeah, no. If I was trying to watch stuff on all of those...
Exactly.
It wouldn't work. It wouldn't happen.
Depending on what Microsoft and or a game wants to shove down our throats on a particular night.
Yeah, exactly.
I might use all of it.
Oh. A game download could easily use all of it. Easily.
Yeah. 25's enough. Or 26, since that's what the US average is. Thanks.
That's right.
Thank you, AT&T. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Shut up, Mr. Stanky. There's a reason why you would name that. All right. Let's move on to our discussion topic portion of the night. Do you want to... Should we go with mine first, or you want to go with yours first?
I don't care. Whatever you think is better.
Since we're less far removed, and well, I guess since mine relates more to an article that we brought up earlier, my discussion topic is simply, what is your opinion on piracy?
Oh, God. My views on this have changed so much over the years. I used to think there was no legitimate reason for it. There's a reason why we have pay systems in place. You're robbing creators of the well-earned talent, well, money for their talents. Yada, yada, yada. Then you bring up the Mickey Mouse scenario, where they literally have things from 70 years ago under lock and key that you can't get at. There's a paywall here, but there isn't. Where do you find some of this stuff? Sometimes the only way to get it is to obtain it. Which, okay, if it's really that outdated and it's really that old and you can't reasonably get it and pay for it, are you just not supposed to enjoy it? Is that the correct answer? Legally, yes. You didn't pay for it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, that's kind of where my opinion is at. If there's not an easy way to obtain something, like say there's something that's prohibitively expensive, which a lot of older Japanese media is.
Yes.
Like if you're into like Godzilla or whatever, or some of that other more obscure stuff from over there, some of that stuff can be hundreds of dollars to buy and ship over here. So not everybody has, $500-$600 to spend on something like that, as much as you might want to. So, I mean, if all you're worried about is watching it, then in my opinion, that's completely fine.
Just depends on whether it's readily available. If there's no
other way to obtain it, then yes, go for it. Do it. Just do it safely. Use a VPN. Otherwise, you're going to get your internet shut off.
You're going to get some notices from the ISP.
Yeah. And let's be honest, the VPNs are not prohibitively expensive anymore either, so
no,
there's no reason not to have one.
No, and there's legit reasons to have one beyond illegitimate reasons.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of legit reasons to have it, so you can't...
Public Wi-Fi, if you are out and about using public Wi-Fi, definitely use the VPN. Even though it might slow the Wi-Fi down a little bit, it's better than getting all of your data stolen and then losing potentially thousands of dollars.
Yep.
So...
Plane tickets.
Do you really care about your YouTube video that much? Does it really matter that it buffers for 2 seconds more? Not really.
No,
No.
not really. Not really. Paywall and how readily available it is. If it's
Mhm.
really obscure and it's really no way to find it, paywall or not,
That's
what are you
that's
going
the
to do?
one thing I can say that the House of Mouse is doing pretty good at. There's a few things on Disney Plus that I still can't find. Like they don't have that. Apparently, they don't have that Buzz Lightyear cartoon that used to be on Disney. The Buzz Lightyear of Star Command.
Really?
Yeah, but
Been a long
when I
time
first
since I've
got
seen
it,
that.
so there was this VHS Disney tape that I used to watch all the time at my grandparents' house called Fun and Fancy Free, and I hadn't seen it in forever.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think it existed outside of that VHS tape, and lo and behold, they had the darned thing on Disney Plus. And I watched the whole thing, and it was wonderful.
There's things that different companies have done that kind of muddy the waters as far as, can you find this or not? Because they've made it a lot easier in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
The streaming services from the different companies have made a lot of the obscure stuff more readily available.
Yeah.
And honestly, if it doesn't cost you anything else beyond the subscription to Disney Plus and or Paramount or the name your network here subscription service, since they've all got one now.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're probably paying for it for something else anyway. So if it's there, it's there. It's legit.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you go and obtain? But
Exactly.
there's plenty of things that aren't like that. And it's like, well, okay, fine. I get it.
Yeah.
I used to say there's no legit reason, and I've come to realize, no. There's, whether you call it legit or not, there's plenty of excuses that I can say, okay, yeah, what the hell else are you supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly.
It sucks, but whatever. And just don't go and get the newest and greatest things. If you're literally scalping and or pirating every single latest movie and you're not giving the movie studios anything, especially right now, given the fact that they lost their shirts the last 2 years, okay, you went a little too far there. I will say that. You did go a little too far with that. Not him, guys. Obviously. Ben pays too much for his stuff as it is.
Yeah, no kidding. Anyway, let's move on to our next one. So what did you bring?
So I was actually having trouble deciding what I wanted to do. And I happened to turn on the TV for a specific reason to record this podcast. And I was like, oh, Microsoft is finally going to fix this annoying issue where if you lose a device, an external monitor, for instance, your Windows get stuck on it and you can't get them off. Chrome loves to do this. Ask me how I know. And what's really annoying is you get it closed through forcible means like Task Manager. You go to reopen it and it sends it back to that non-existent monitor. What are you supposed to do?
Well,
it's
stupid. There are key combinations that you can use to move them from monitor to monitor. But I can understand where that would be a source of frustration because that's not the first thing that would come to my mind either.
No. And there's a lot of people who aren't as tech savvy as us.
Yeah.
And may not even know how to go to Task Manager to freaking kill the thing, but B, don't know all the little creative shortcuts that Windows has. Because, these are, old shortcuts that existed because they had things less ingenious than the UI that we have today. There used to be a thing called Command Line where you didn't have a GUI at all. Do people know how to use that these days? No. They don't.
They don't.
So Windows is supposed to fix it in the new update, supposedly. So, what do you think you want to see in the new Windows 10? Or, let's just call it Windows Update, because there may be There may be an 11, supposedly. We'll see.
I don't know. My most anticipated feature is technically already here. I didn't even know that it was going to be a thing. I'm going to be honest. But they recently released WinGet, or I guess a program manager, whatever. And it kind of falls into what you were saying before, how nobody knows how to use the command line. And that probably isn't going to change, but for people who know what they're doing, and even for people who have an ancillary knowledge of the command line, this is going to make your life so much easier once it actually kind of works. Because right now it's still a little iffy on some stuff. But
It's still a little iffy.
yeah, I haven't tried it here lately, but when I first installed it, it was definitely it needed some work done. But it solves the problem of Windows users having to, go to a program's website or go into the program and check for updates. Because now, I mean, if you wanted to, realistically, you could just write a batch script that lives in a little shortcut on your desktop. And every time you think, oh, I wonder if I have any programs that have updates, you double click that and it does everything for you.
Do you know how much time that would save? You probably don't have the
And not
problem
only
as
that,
much.
and not only that, but it would make a fresh Windows install so much easier because you can export your lists of installed programs to a text file, and feed it to the program on this other computer, and it will download and install everything. Yeah, you might have to fix some preferences and whatnot, but the majority of the work is done. And again, yes, there was already a service that technically did this thing,
And I
but it
was so
only had
grateful you showed
support
me that
for
service.
certain programs.
Mm-hmm.
And now, whatever is in this Windows repository, you can download and install and keep updated, and it's so cool. It's so cool. So I mean, maybe one day it'll get a GUI and everything. That it probably somebody will build something around it because it's such a cool feature that Windows has needed for a long time. It's gonna save some people so much time. Like honestly.
I don't understand why this hasn't already been a thing. You have in iOS and Android, the Play Store and or App Store, you have a toggle in there somewhere that says do or do not automatically update my apps.
Mm-hmm.
And if that for some reason fails, you always have the option of literally going to the Play Store and going to My Apps or whatever said phrasing is for your particular thing and update them all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much time it saves the techie of the house from having to go and perform maintenance on the other computer in the house that doesn't? It's kind of stupid that I'd have to go and click every single icon on my desktop and be like, does this have an update? Does this have an update? Just do it all at once and be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Save so much time.
Let's be honest. Before this, I would just let things sit unupdated.
You
because
would.
It's not like I honestly like it wouldn't be even something that I thought about. So I would be sitting here with a program that's like 6 versions behind or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But because I didn't think about it and it didn't tell me, it wasn't really a worry.
Yeah.
You know?
How many of these programs do you use once in a while, need it now, and be like, oh crap, I have to wait for an update?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't think about it. It's on the back burner. You don't use it every day.
And now, like I said, you can go into the Windows repository. If you know what you're doing, you make a batch script. You let that live on your desktop. Oh my god. It's gonna once if it ever actually gets like, I mean, obviously it's a Microsoft built thing, but if it ever actually gets like a GUI and things that a person with limited technical knowledge would actually be able to use, it's going to make everybody's lives so much easier.
Yep. Agreed. I just want a new UI in general. There's so many things that you go into, and it's Vista or Windows 7 menus and sub icons for still. And then they fragmented some of that and they put it in the new Windows 10 system settings stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes it gives you legacy old icons, and then sometimes it doesn't. And it's so fragmented, you don't know where to go anymore for deep system settings. Sometimes. Other times it's fine. It just depends on what it is. And it depends on where they decided to put it in this update. They need to just clean the slate and get it all together. Enough with this nonsense. And stop with the squares. Everything's squares. Get some edges in here. Some rounded edges.
See, I like the... You haven't seen it because you don't use Firefox, but they actually recently updated the UI, and it looks really, really nice. Like, the tabs are now these, like, kind of floating, rounded rectangles. They're not necessarily connected to anything. They just kind of live up in the toolbar up there. It looks so nice.
Oh, and stop telling me I need to update my damn computer, too. Your device will restart and update outside of active hours. You know how long I've been staring at this box? Like the last 30 minutes? Because I don't dare touch it, because I know if I do, it'll do something it's not supposed to, and we'll lose the podcast.
That's why you should have just updated it yesterday, David.
Didn't turn my computer on yesterday. Well, actually, I did. I did! It's probably something that dropped today.
Oh well.
Who knows?
I probably have an update that it hasn't bothered to let me know about, so whatever.
For those of us who didn't let their C drive get down to the last 10 gigabytes, it would update for you automatically, just saying.
What? I've got plenty of space on mine.
I know you do now.
Well, yeah. Well, before I had a piddly 120 gigabytes to work with, so you can't blame me there.
Just like to give you a hard time about it, that's all.
Okay.
You ready for the trailers?
That's done. Let's move on to a lot of trailers, actually. Just a brief rundown on how our trailers section works. We're going to watch the trailer. We are going to let you guys know, based on that trailer and maybe a couple other of ancillary factors that we'll discuss when we're actually talking about it, whether or not we would go see it in a theater, whether we would wait for a rental, wait for a review, or whether we wouldn't see it at all. And like I said, it's pretty much purely based on the trailer and how much we like it or how much we're already anticipating the thing. So, don't look too far into it. First trailer we've got for the night is for Marvel Studios' The Eternals.
We have watched, unguided. We have helped them progress and seen them accomplish wonders. Throughout the years, we have never interfered until now.
Oh boy. Okay. This looks good. I'm actually kind of excited about this. I wasn't really sure how or what to think about it, but it's pretty cool. I don't know. We'll see how exactly it turns out once it hits Disney Plus or theaters or whatever, but I would say I'd go see this in the theaters.
It's definitely a change of pace for what we've come to grown accustomed to as far as MCU movies go.
Yeah.
But that's basically because it's not Avengers or an Avenger movie.
Yeah.
Be it one of the individual characters and or the team. Really the only deviation that we got previously anyways, was kind of Guardians of the Galaxy, really.
Yeah.
It
And
was
even
really
they
the
ended
only
up being in
deviation.
an Avengers movie.
Exactly. So it's like, well, it's a nice change of pace. It's nice to see something different. It'll
Yeah.
give them a chance to branch out and see what other creative and good stories they can come up with.
I'm
I like
excited
the
to see.
graphics.
I'm excited to see how extensive we're going to get into the Marvel lore now. Now that we're just not purely focused. I mean, obviously, considering it's the bread and butter of the MCU, the Avengers are going to be a core part of the universe. But hopefully, with this, we're going to see more branches rather than like branches that kind of interconnect back into an Avengers movie. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll probably see the Eternals in an Avengers movie, but I would like to see more different stories being told rather than now that especially considering the Infinity Saga is over
Done.
with.
Yes.
I would like to see more branches going out and maybe eventually coming back in rather than a hop, skip, and a jump. They go out and then they come immediately back in, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe not go down like a long tangent of this set of movies and then never tie it back in.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
boom, all of a sudden, oh, hey, there they are. They're back.
Mm-hmm.
I gotcha.
All right. Now for a franchise that we haven't heard from in probably... When was the last G.I. Joe movie out?
I couldn't tell you. I haven't seen it.
Hold on. G.I. Joe.
It's
been a
2.
while. Retaliation was 2013. So that's... Oh my God. That's like
8 years right there.
Yeah, 8 years ago. So this is Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins. A movie that may or may not be 8 years in the making. I don't know.
Every warrior has a beginning.
I'm on a new level.
For 600 years, our ninja have brought peace to the world.
I'm on a new level.
I need warriors like you. Join us.
What do I have to do? The journey from here is yours to decide. But that is just the beginning.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know. I'd probably wait for... This is one of those things where I know if we were in the same area, we'd probably go see in the theaters. But if it's just me, I'd probably wait for a rental. And it looks fine. It's just not something that I'd go see by myself, I guess.
Yeah, it's as an individual conquest. I'm not itching to go see this either.
Yeah.
But just like you said, it'd be something that we'd see just because we'd see it.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as this goes, I could wait for a rental on this.
Yeah. All right.
Speaking of which, I didn't give my Eternals recommendation. Did you?
Oh yeah, you didn't.
Go see it.
I
in the
did.
theaters.
Yeah, I said I would go see it in the theaters.
See it in the theaters. 100%.
Yeah.
Committed.
All right. So now we've got the Tomorrow War.
We are fighting a war 30 years in the future.
Is it a joke?
Our enemy is not human. We need you to fight.
You got drafted.
I will be back.
Why is this happening? What about the teachers' deferment and the veterans' deferment?
If I don't go, they're going to draft you in my place. But if something does happen to me, you and Mary will be taken care of.
If something happens to you, Dan, 70% of draftees do not return.
Sometimes a man does what's best for his family, not himself.
Move your shirt, please.
What's this for?
It's just a test.
Oh, a seatbelt. Was it a driving test? No? You don't have jokes in the future?
Okay. Chris Pratt, J.K. Simmons, Yvonne Strahovski. I don't remember how to pronounce her last name. I'm down with this. I'd go see this in the theaters. This looks cool.
The only thing that I could nitpick, honestly, is just the fact that there's not a lot of explanation as to what and or who we are fighting. Other than that, it looks really, really good. I definitely want to go see this in the theaters.
This looks so cool. This would be, if we were still doing our own little sci-fi podcast, I think this would be one that we'd have to cover on it. Definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe this is something. Maybe that's our next movie review, huh?
Yeah, we could do that.
It's July 2nd. That's like a month from now. We'll definitely do that. It'll be exciting. All right. So now we've got another trailer for Jungle Cruise. Okay, so before we get into it, the reason I wanted to watch this was because we watched the first one, like what, a year ago, maybe even more than that.
Been a while.
And neither of us was really impressed with how it looked. So I want to see if going on a year, maybe a year and a half later, if this trailer looks any better. Because I think we both liked The Rock. The movie itself looked okay. It was just the CGI that was a little rough around the edges. And I would hope that, considering they've had plenty of time to smooth it out, it looks a little better.
Plenty of time, yes.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what we criticized. Something was broken as far as the looks of the movie, and it was quite noticeable for both of us.
Yeah, so we're going to hop into this trailer, and then we'll see what becomes of it when we get back out.
My name is Dr. Lily Houghton. My brother and I are looking for passage upriver.
What's out there in the jungle? It's not a fun vacation.
Well, I'm not here for a vacation.
Legend has it that there is a tree that possesses unparalleled healing power. It will change medicine forever.
And you need someone to help you find it. Here we go.
Sometimes it just needs a bit of a...
Nobody touches my engine but me. What did I just...
There you go.
We're gonna do this together.
Haven't you been dreaming about adventure?
She was always chasing after some far-fetched idea. There's no such thing as curses.
Everything that you see wants to kill you. And can. Do you want to turn back?
No, just getting started.
I have to say, I have a lot less of a problem with this trailer than I did the one before. It looked a lot better.
There is very noticeable improvement with the CGI.
Oh, yeah.
100%. I still have to say, I'm not liking it a lot, but it's not because it's bad. It's because it's noticeable. And the reason it's noticeable is because it's more cartoonish, so to speak. It's very clearly CGI, and the fact that it's got, more vibrant colors that pop more. It looks great, don't get me wrong. But it's not, oh my god, is that CGI that they did that with? And it looks realistic and it's great? Or is it bad to where you could see the deformities or the seams? You could see the seams everywhere. You can't see the seams anymore.
No. Thankfully.
But it's there. You can see it's there.
Yeah.
It pops
well, see
out.
the thing is though, are you noticing it because we were looking at it this time? Or are you noticing it because it's noticeable?
I think it's a little bit of both. I was purposely looking for the CGI because that was the problem that we had with it last time. So I wanted to see if that cleaned up. I don't want to say that you're wrong. I don't think that's it, though. I think I could notice it regardless. It's pretty standoutish.
That's
at least
fair.
to me.
That's fair.
But you're right. We were looking for it, so I'm probably more hyper-focused on it than I would have otherwise been. But I don't think... It's not going to just blend into the background at all.
Probably
But
not,
I'm not complaining about that. You just see it, that's all.
I would say this is a rental for me, probably.
It's a rental, but it's a good rental. Like, some of these movies we rate, and we're not going to see them. Whether or not we like them or not.
Let's be fair. Probably 90% of the trailers that we watch are for movies that we're never going to see. But
you can't watch it.
It's part of the show, one. And two, we don't have time to watch everything.
I would watch this for sure. Like, I would actually go and watch this.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But it's a rental. It's not a go see in the theater.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right. Next one we've got is for another trailer that we've already seen before, or another movie we've already seen a trailer for, I should say, Free Guy.
My name is Guy.
Sunday should be warm and sunny, just a scattering of drive-bys.
And I live in paradise. I've got a best friend.
This is the greatest cup of coffee of all time.
Oh! Mondays, am I right, Joe?
You said it, guy.
Yeah. And I work at the bank.
Everybody's out of the bank!
I thought I had everything I needed. But then I met her.
Everybody down on the ground. Everybody except you.
Me?
It's just a...
Please, I have a goldfish.
There's something inside you, Guy.
I don't want something inside me.
I expected you to just follow the rules, but you are so much more than that. Put these on.
Okay, fine.
Oh my God!
What are these, trick glasses or something?
Guy, there is no easy way to say this. This world, it's a video game. You're not real.
Please stop my...
And the guy responsible for this world was going to destroy it.
You've met God?
Yes, he's an absolute troll.
Trolls exist. Buddy, if we're not real, doesn't that mean that nothing you do matters?
I am sitting here with my best friend trying to help him get through a tough time. Now, if that's not real, I don't know what is.
I distinctly remember when we first watched the trailer for this movie, the last time we watched the trailer for this movie.
Uh-huh.
I hated it. It looked so stupid. And I will say that it doesn't look any less dumb, but at least now I'm getting some sort of description of what this movie is going to be like. Because before, yeah, sure, we got that he was in a video game and now he realizes that he's in a video game, but okay, what's the point beyond that?
Mm-hmm.
And this gives it a more overarching flow, a story, whatnot, you know? So, would I see it in the theaters? Probably not. But I would say I would definitely rent it. This looks actually pretty interesting.
I would say I don't remember my initial thing. I don't know if I was on the same page with you. I get where you're coming from with the more detailed explanation as to what looks like it's going to happen. I picked up on the comedy. This just made me laugh.
Yeah, this trailer was very funny. Yeah.
And based off that alone, because I don't remember my initial impression, not a movie theater, but definitely a rental. I really want to see this. This looks funny as hell.
All right. Here we've got another, the third one in a row that we've already seen a trailer for, but I want to see the reason I'm picking all of these is because I want redemption arcs for these movies. I don't have high hopes for Space Jam 2, though. So, we'll see how this one looks.
What brings you to Tonwa, Doc?
The computer dude kidnapped my son. No! What in the Matrix hell?
Hey.
What'd you do to my son?
The only way you're getting your son back is if you and I play a little basketball.
You want to play me in basketball? I need to assemble an elite team.
You need a dream team. I'll take it from here. Sam, shoot the ball. Let's try that again, shall we?
We'll get your son back. I promise.
What's happening?
Up the jam. I look expensive.
Introducing the Goon Squad!
I got it. She got me. I'm not a betting duck, but my money's on the other team. Pump up the jam.
Yo, King, you're about to lose your family.
Got the world in my hand.
Everything you love.
Well, at least we're good.
Oh, and I almost forgot. All of the tunes will be deleted, so...
I still feel like this is a worse retread of the original. But I don't know. This still doesn't necessarily have me on board, but I will still probably watch it just to watch it. I'm going to say, for the sake of this segment, though, I would say probably wait for a review.
I wish it had a different narrative. If it was something that was different, and it wasn't basically rehashing the same story, I'd say there's a place for this. But I'm still hung up on the fact that we're basically doing the same blessed thing we did the first time. But we're doing it worse, arguably worse.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I can forget that. I'm still going to say wait for a rental.
Yeah.
Probably, just because I'm going to see it. Unless I'm told otherwise. You know what? We're going to wait for a review just because I want to know if this is going to bomb before I waste my time. How about that?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
That's fair. All right. And then our last trailer is for Monsters at Work, which, let me just preface, makes Monsters, Inc. one of only 2 Pixar franchises to have 3 movies in it.
Actually, we don't scare anymore. Now we're laugh power. Sorry about that.
They're putting you two in charge.
Just kidding. It's laughter we're after. We're gonna need to find a couple of 100 more funny monsters.
Excuse me, Tyler Tussman, official scarer.
What? Scarer?
You're no longer hiring scarers?
Scarers are out. Jokesters are in.
Is this a joke?
Report to Miffed.
Yeah! Home sweet home. Meet the new guy, Tyler Dustman.
Hi.
We were best buds in
We
college.
just had that one class together.
Yeah, but it was special.
We didn't actually speak. What exactly is Miffed?
What is Miffed?
Now you've done it.
The Monsters, Inc. facilities team.
M-I-F-T.
If a machine needs maintenance, we maintain it. Now!
None of us will ever speak at this again. Nobody saw nothing. Well, nobody saw nothing.
Okay, so not a movie, but a series. I don't know, dude. I don't know. The the CGI on this does not look spectacular.
This looks
I don't need it to be Pixar movie level, but Sully looks fake. Like, is that just me?
This is the exact equivalent of Disney direct-to-video sequel of the 90s.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Because they always did B-team animators. They used those movies as training grounds for new animators, basically. They didn't have to be the best. It was direct-to-video sequels. That's exactly what this is reminding me of. It was always B-rated material. There's very few, especially of the Renaissance era, Disney sequels that were worth it, honestly. And none of them beat the originals. Hands down, period, end of discussion. I want to see a Monsters continuation that explored what was to come from the Laugh lore. I don't know if this series is that.
Well, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah,
You know?
at least it's on Disney Plus, and if I want to watch it, it's there.
Mhm.
Will I?
Debatable.
Debatable, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, well, that's it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry, or watching, depending on where you're at. If you're on YouTube, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you are listening to us on a podcasting platform, be sure to rate us. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode of Podcast Period. This episode was hosted and produced by Ben, co-hosted and edited by David. You can contact Ben on Twitter at BenPlaysVidges. That's Ben Plays, VIDYAS. And you can contact David on Twitter at Car6by16. If you'd like to chat with us about any of the topics on this episode, you can hit the show up at Podcast Period on Twitter, or shoot us an email at podcastperiodpodcast@gmail.com. That's all for this episode. We'll see you next time.
This was a Nerdgasm podcast production.
Well, that was another in a long series of regrettable life choices.
Served at nerdgasmpodcast.com.